Okay, so now we have the ballast sort of loosely deposited on top of the track. So now it's time to clean it up and make it look nice. So I'm going to start in the center here with my brush, and what you want to do is just brush it along like this, and what this will do is it'll pull the ballast along and leave it so it's nice and evenly deposited. Just like that. And you want to get it so that the ballast comes up to the ties but doesn't cover the tops of the ties. I've got the camera up above right now so you can kind of see what I'm talking about with the ballast in the middle. You can see that the ballast comes up to the top of the ties, but it doesn't cover it. Now, there's a couple of loose pieces of ballast on top of the ties here and there, but that's okay because that's a little more prototypical. You don't want to have it so perfect that it doesn't look real. So now that we've got the ballast in the middle cleaned up, we're going to do the ballast on the sides. So again, we're going to take our brush, and what I like to do is I kind of put the brush right up next to the rail, and then I just drag it along, and that sort of naturally pushes the ballast down into a nice gentle slope like it should be. And then once I've done that, I'll come over the tops of the ties and just keep on doing it back and forth like this until you get to where the ballast is up to the top of the ties but not covering them. Sort of like that. And then on the slope here, just kind of pat it so that it has a nice slope to it. Get that cleaned up there again. Like that. On the other side, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to bring the brush along here, sort of knock some of that ballast down, and then gently go along the tops of the ties. Clean up this slope area underneath the ties. And then what you end up with is a nice looking side where the tops of the ties are showing, but the ballast is coming up all the way, and you've got a nice gentle slope. Now I've got the camera on the other side of the track for a minute to show you something. If you look right here, you can see that there's a little weak spot where there's not enough ballast. I can kind of see some of the roadbed showing through right there. That's okay. All you do is just pour a little extra ballast there and then get it cleaned up so it blends in nicely with the rest. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so now we have all the ballast on the track. We've got it cleaned up and looking really nice. The only thing we have to do now is fasten the ballast down so that it doesn't move around, because right now there's nothing holding this ballast in place. So what we're going to do is use a dilute mixture of water and Elmer's white glue to secure the ballast in place. This is the diluted glue mixture I was talking about. I make it by mixing equal parts of Elmer's white glue and hot water. When I'm mixing it, I use hot water instead of cold water because the hot water, I find, results in a more even mixture. And basically what it does is it gets the glue down to a consistency that can be sprayed, like in this spray bottle, or that can be applied using an eyedropper. And so this is what we're going to use to glue the ballast down to the track. But before we can apply this, we need to hit the ballast with a wetting agent, and that's what the isopropyl alcohol is. If you don't know what a wetting agent is or what it's for, I'm going to show you right now. If I put a little pile of ballast here, and then apply some of our diluted white glue to the ballast, you'll notice that instead of soaking into the ballast like we want it to, the glue beads up and runs off the side. And this creates a big mess, and it's not very fun. And that's because of surface tension. Surface tension is preventing the glue from soaking into the ballast the way we want it to. So to combat that, we use a wetting agent, which in this case is the isopropyl alcohol. So I'm going to make another pile of ballast over here, but before I put the white glue on it, I'm going to spray it with some isopropyl alcohol. And now when I apply the diluted white glue, you'll notice that it soaks right in. There's no running and there's no beading. And that's because the isopropyl alcohol has eliminated the surface tension problem. And that's what a wetting agent is, and that's what it does. Okay, we're back to our track now, and so before we put down the glue, we're going to hit the ballast with our wetting agent, which is the isopropyl alcohol. And we're just going to spray it and give it a nice even coat. Don't worry about getting on the tracks or the ties or anything, because it's going to evaporate, and when we're done, we're going to clean the tops of the rails anyway. Now that the wetting agent is down, it's time to put the glue on. I'm going to start off with my bottle full of diluted white glue with my spray nozzle on it, and I'm going to do the outside of the track first. So what I do is I get my squirt bottle and just real gently squirt it on the ballast. And just get a good amount. It's probably better to get too much glue on there than too little. Just get it really saturated. And once you've got the top, just come down the slope. Until all of the ballast is soaked in glue. And don't worry about this glue that's getting on the rails and on the ties. We'll clean that up. Okay, and that's it for that side. And we'll get the other side of the track in just the same way.